Now, a Gestalt, you see the word there. Gestalt is a German word for a pattern, for a way of looking at things. It's something that's set, it has boundaries. And it's in artwork, it's in all kinds of things. And there's a whole division of psychology called Gestalt psychology. And what it does, it tells you to do this, do that. You know, and there's there's rules to the whole darn thing. And it has this circle around it, right? Don't go outside the circle. Don't go inside the circle. We all heard that from teachers and from everyone, every adult, our whole lives. Well, I heard it, and of course, because I'm stupid and I got left back twice, you know, only thing I could handle is go to hell with you and your rules. So I just thought of crazy things to do. But, you know, therefore, I learned that it's not enough for me to follow the rules. Yeah, I do follow the rules, but I want to do something different. So I took a Gestalt and I made it different. I mean, right? What we see is salt, pepper. You don't see the salt on the table over here and pepper over here. In our mind, we have a thing called a synthetic function. These things go together because they're logical, salt and pepper. So you're taught that so often. You got to break out of that paradigm. You got to see things with zero limits and great opportunities when you don't see any reason for an opportunity. And besides that, your teachers told you to do it this way and that way. And why are you doing it different? No, if you don't have it, if you don't do that different, you're never going to do anything special. And the world will never grow. And that is so sad. Okay, so what kind of Gestalt do we talk about? Well, I'm proud to say that I took the Gestalt concept and I made it different. You see the circle? I left a section of that circle out. I didn't give it a pattern that was fixed. And I put a question mark in the center. And I said, what's next? What can we do? Everything I do, I can't help it. What's next? How do we make it better? I am not interested in solutions. I'm interested in questions. I try to find questions. People don't like that. The ambiguity of it makes you nervous and jerky because you want to have a nice circle. Well, stick with that. Go for it. I'll keep on making my crazy ones because that way I'll keep thinking of new things. And we should teach our kids that way. Yeah, you got to follow the rules, absolutely. But you also got to open up. You got to see opportunity, and we'll tell you some more about that, how that works. Okay, now let's get to the actual rules that Mickey and I have developed. We have 8 of them, we'll get to them. And the first one is rethink why. Every time you do anything, I look at the bottle, I say, why? Does it have to be that shape? What's going on? And then I take it to myself and say, why? Well, as a therapist, one of the things you're doing is taking a history. And you're finding out what they did, what they've been doing or will do or how or what they've done. So you're talking about their work experiences, you're talking about spiritual, everything you're going into. And as a therapist, I am observing that. I'm picking it all up. What you find out is a guy comes in to see you, and he's been a lawyer for 22 years, and he doesn't know it at this point, or he does know it. But you talk to him, and all of a sudden out comes the fact that he never wanted to be a lawyer. His father wanted him to be a lawyer. So his Gestalt was always made for him. And then finally he realized it for certain reasons, and he's getting divorced, and this is happening, and that's happening. He's having life changes. Well, a good therapist gets a hold of that and says, there's a very healthy thing going on with this, and don't do anything quick. Let's learn together who you are and what you are, and give you a way to get out of that frozen, stiff stuff and get into a more opportunistic one. And you start with that and you take people. Now, when you apply that to coaching, what does the average coach do? Okay, you get up there and now don't quit and try harder and don't let, and rules upon rules upon rules. What the coach should say is, okay, we're gonna be out there in the field in a few minutes. So I want each one of you to take a couple of minutes to go inside yourself and think of why. Why are we playing this game? Why are you playing this game, a football game? And if it's not, you got a problem with it, say, okay, I'll deal with it. I'll talk with the coach. I'll talk to other people. But for the time being, it's 2.5 hours, and I'll stay focused, and I'll get to deal with these things later. Or, the guy has a problem. He's not sure. Is his girlfriend pregnant or not? How can he possibly perform at his best? Anything that's in their heads, our heads, we must put it aside. Now you have your performance. The performance is over, get to the problems. But purposely put it aside. 2, observation, practice, visualization. Anyone has to visualize it. You got to get into all kinds of things about it. Just visualize. Dare to see that you're crossing the line. You won the day. Get to think that people like you. Whatever it is that you're missing, think of it and say, okay, what can I do to change it? So you open your gestalt up. Hold this back. Gestalt are always like this, people do it. Let's open that up this way. Walk around the world looking like this, instead of like this, and giving all the right answers. No. There's so many answers that we can't even think of what the questions are. The next step is that there's to make something happen performance-wise, sports especially, but anything. There's a thing called the arousal level. As I tell you, my friend, the golfer, he lowered his arousal. Practically every athlete lowers their arousal. Watch them on TV in baseball. The guy swings the bat in the batter's box. And what does he do next? He goes, they breathe deeper. He's also visualizing that the ball's bigger. He's hallucinating. He's seeing a baseball bigger than anyone else sees. He thinks he's practically cheating because he's so good he can see things that other people can't see. So the arousal gets under control, and the attention focus starts to get really special. Not what you're supposed to do, it's what can I do? And everything opens up. The 4th step.
And I practiced this arousal today when I walked in here to the Y and nothing was ready. The time had changed, everything was crazy. And I said, oh God, I've been listening to Bert talking about this for so long. But I had to breathe, and believe it or not, it worked. Yeah.
Okay, now this is called being in the zone. I think we've all heard that. When someone is hot, when they're performing, again, sports, they talk about it. Business, they don't talk about it, but they do it. When you're in the zone, everything is coming together. Time stops. You just go beyond beyond what you ever experienced before. And that's being in the zone. How do you get in the zone? It's because you know why you're doing it. And you won't let things get in the way. You have practice, and you're good, you practice. And now you know you can breathe, and you can lower your arousal, and you can see the right focus. You put them together, and you practice and put them together and do it again and again, and guess what? somewhere after enough practice, it clicks, and you walk around different. When it comes to that activity, you are a different person. You don't have fear of speaking in public. You don't have fears of flirting with someone in a nice, positive way. You don't have fears of anything because you work them through. And you're in the zone. And when I'm in the zone, I don't want anyone not to be in the zone. I think we should all be in the zone. But I know I'm in the zone. I have the advantage. My Lord, it's so powerful. And no one even knows you're in the zone. I mean, it's like, but you see it. We all see it. You see someone who's really put together. You know, they're really in a zone. They created their own world. They don't have other people pulling and tugging them and doing all kinds of things. They do it their way, without fighting, without arguing. They just got control. Okay, so after being in the zone and practicing the zone, that is dynamite. Now, in this performance activity, whatever performance activity there is, we need to get feedback. So how can you perform something and be thinking about the performance, what you're doing? You got to. Guy goes to the foul line, shoots a foul, and the ball goes to the left. Takes the second shot, the ball goes to the left. He better start to think about what is going on. So 2 or 3% of his energy has to be thinking about it besides doing it. What was the error? How can I change it? And am I not breathing? Am I breathing too much? Whatever it is, give a little energy to looking at yourself. You're outside yourself looking at yourself. Because if you don't do that, you're rambling on, and you don't have any insight what's going on, and you're making a fool of yourself. So you got to look, save that looking for yourself. No sports psychologist talked about why before I got involved in this whole thing. And now Eureka, no one talks about the Eureka. And what is this Eureka? Well, we use it in inventing. We use it in everything we do. And that's how to get in the zone. But it's much more than that. A number of years ago, I go into a convenience store and I buy something, a soda and candy bar.
Ice cream cone. You
Ice
love ice cream.
Ice cream cone. And I pay, I don't know, $1.50. I'm in the same store I went to as a kid, where I paid 14 cents in 1938.
Before written records.
Before written records. And now it's whatever it is now. So I buy the cone in the same place, I get the change, and I look and I see a canister, and it says, for the poor. I see it's going to help someone out. But I know different, because after you leave, they take a knife and they put it in the canister, and they tip the canister to the side of the bottle, and they jiggle like this, and the coins come out of the bottle.
And it's all taped up.
It's all taped up, and it never gets where it's supposed to get. But okay, so the Eureka here for me was so powerful. I have the change. I'm standing, looking at this young high school kid, and my mind is racing like you can't believe. And I'm almost ready to shout out in the store, I got it, I got another one. But I didn't want people to think I was crazy, so I didn't do it. I kept my mouth shut and I smiled. Oh God, I had a smile from here to here. I saw something that was so powerful. I said, here it goes. This is something that's as good as I ever created. I go home, I go to sleep, and I get a dream. And the dream is that I see myself going to the store, getting the change, and saying to the person, oh, here's my card, put my change on my card, and I'll come back and spend it later. And it hit me. My God, this is a way to save every day small amounts and make it bigger and use it anywhere, however I want to use it. And I said, I need a name for this. See, I ask questions, and I say, in my dreams, and I say, come on, tell me the answer. So I'm talking to myself, right? Because I'm crazy anyway. So the answer comes back and says, every penny counts. And then I started a company. Every penny counts. And filed all patents and did all the things with it, all because I just stretched my imagination versus taking the money and some options, throw it against the counter, against the wall, yelling at the kid, what's going on here? I don't understand this. When I was a kid, I only spent, right? People do that all the time. No, it was a problem. I didn't like it, but hey, life goes on. Prices go up. It's okay. It's life. So I took a problem and I allowed it to grow. So I spend my time looking again for problems. And then I simply take the problem, and what I do is if I want to redesign this bottle, here's what I would do. I would look at the bottle and say, okay, let's play with this thing. And I start manipulating it and playing it and different things and laughing and smiling. You can't be an engineer so tight, measuring it and this and that. It's all cool, and it has to get done, but not by me. So I think about it and I say, what are the alternatives? Then I say, I'm not ready for that. It's too early. I say, okay, let's take this bottle and let's break it down into pieces. Let's deconstruct it. Pieces, the label here, plastic here. So it's all on the table, and there's no definition, no shape, but the content is there. And then I look at it and I say, okay. And everything about this deconstruction, I add five senses to every part of the pieces that are on the table. I pick up a piece of plastic, I taste it, I smell it, I listen to it. I do everything to that piece. I take the cap. Each one of these things is deconstructed and it's reloaded with cross-fertilized senses. And then I say, okay, I got it all here. What I need now is a new answer. And every inventor, every creative person, I believe, does the same thing. They don't know it necessarily. Many of them do know it. They say, I'm going to assign it to my subconscious. I'm going to take all these pieces. I'm going to say, I want something new. I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I want my unconscious to rearrange it and come up with something different. I'm in no hurry for it now, so give it to me at the end of the week, or give it to me in a month. Oh no, I need it today. I want a new design, new concept right now. And I order it. I tell my mind to create the new image, to break out of the gestalt and go into whatever hell's out there. No rules, letting it happen. And that's how you invent things. Simple as that. Okay, now the last.
And then Eureka is like
we'll
all of a sudden you got the idea?
Yeah, that's the Eureka. Okay, so the last thing is, in a good performance for all of us, is you say, dear God, thank you again, you helped me, you gave me insights, because I can't do anything without that man or woman up top. And you pay homage and respect to that force, And then you say to yourself, what do I do now? Well, if you're a generous person, you say, I want to pass it on. I want to give it to somebody else. What can I do? What can I do? Because of my operation a year ago, I couldn't walk. Slowly, I'm getting around. And people help me all the time. And it's so I pass it on. I say thank you. I say all kinds of things.
I think what Bert was saying before, because this is where his mind travels so quickly. What he does, like whenever Bert has a problem or he has to work something out, like he'll see something that's wrong and he'll want to fix it. Nothing around the house, but like seeing the slow drivers in the left-hand lane. You know, he would put all those things in his head, and he would go to bed that night and he would almost demand an answer to his and sure enough, he would wake up, maybe not that day, maybe not the following day, it might be in the shower, but all of a sudden, the Eureka happens and he gets the answer. Thank you very much, folks. We ran longer than we thought we would. And
Thank you.
you're welcome.